President Trump's tariff strategy on the U.S. economy and the trajectory for growth. In December, the United States trade deficit was more than $98 billion. The White House released this video just a short time ago today, highlighting President Trump's goal, which is bring back American workers.
So to stay on, we're not going to let anyone tell us that American workers and families cannot have the future that they deserve. We're going to produce the cars and ships, chips, airplanes, minerals, and medicines that we need right here in America.
Let's bring in now Republican and Congressman from West Virginia. He's also a member of the House Appropriations Committee, and he was in the Rose Garden yesterday. Please have Congressman Riley Moore joining us today. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you as well. Thanks for having me on.
It's great to have you. We spoke at CPAC. I mean, your state, West Virginia, a huge energy producer. People may not know, fifth largest. You know, when you look at the type of economic plan, be it tariffs, be it no tax on tips, all these things that President Trump wants to do to benefit the American workers. Tell us what your experience was like in the Rose Garden and obviously watching some of the market volatility today, what you say to some people and your constituents who may be a little bit shaken up.
Well, I was elated to be there, and this has been a long time coming, and it's something we've wanted to see in West Virginia for decades. Somebody to stand up, to have the courage to actually do something to reverse this trend that has been destroying communities in West Virginia for decades, from NAFTA to China and the World Trade Organization, so on and so forth. I could not have been happier. There are many West Virginians, actually, that were there at the Rose Garden as well. Steel workers, iron workers, folks that work in the gas industry, a lot of different folks from different walks of life from West Virginia. It was well represented, the state of West Virginia yesterday, and people were just thrilled on it. In terms of market volatility, of course, with any substantial change, there's going to be some shakeup in the market. As you know, I was the state treasurer of West Virginia. I know this quite well. And obviously, with any change, there's going to be some volatility because they want to see how this is going to settle out. But this is something that had to happen. We cannot continue down the path that we've been on, which has destroyed communities. Drug use has been rampant, open borders, jobs shipped overseas. And we can't live like this anymore. And this is why states like West Virginia voted for Donald Trump with over 70% of the vote.
Pretty incredible to see, though, last night, Senate voted to reject the plan to impose 25% tariffs on Canada for Republicans, the usual suspects going over with Democrats. But it was Rand Paul who co-sponsored this measure. With Democrat Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia, Senator Paul is saying tariffs are taxes. Now, obviously, it's not expected to go anywhere in the House, but what is your message to, the senators from the GOP who are making this stance against President Trump's bold initiative with the tariffs here?
Well, as they stated, tariffs are taxes. Yeah, you're right, but on other countries, not on us. That's what's happening here. They're paying a premium to have access to the greatest consumer market on the face of the planet. And meanwhile, lowering their tariffs through the reciprocal tariff program President Trump has laid out, which is then going to open their markets to our manufacturers here in the United States. It can't just be a one-way street. By the way, if you don't want to pay any tariffs and you're a company overseas, just open up shop here in the United States. You know who's been doing that? American manufacturers for decades have been doing that and moving their jobs over to China so they can avoid the tariffs there in China. Wow, imagine that. And so that's what we should be doing here in the United States and putting the American worker and the American family first instead of always just this corporate capture globalization that's been going on forever that has just devastated the middle of the country.
I know the people in West Virginia are very optimistic about the future for their economy as well. You look at sort of the landscape here and the global landscape, and I know you have other legislation when it comes to China, though, because they are our adversaries. So they may talk tough right now, but ultimately Donald Trump is pushing back as well, saying, we are the West and we are going to be dominant here, decouple from their supply chains and the overdependence there. Congressman Moore, final thoughts.
Well, go back and look at COVID, right, where you had interrupted supply chains. You just touched on that right now. It is insane that we are making critical medicine Over in China, pharmaceuticals that we're making, such as insulin, antibiotics, things like that, things that we need. Now, if you looked at the agricultural space during COVID, where we make a lot of agricultural goods here in the United States, I didn't see grocery shelves empty. I don't think anybody saw that, right? So think about that. We have to be more self-reliant in this country and take care of ourselves and take care of our people instead of transferring wealth to a country that hates us and wants to displace us in the world.
West Virginia Congressman Riley Moore, always a pleasure to have you, sir. Thanks for joining us right here today.
Thanks so much.